The night in Gdańsk carried a different kind of energy. The air was thick with pride, tension, and the sound of thousands chanting their hero's name. Inside the glowing Ergo Arena, Poland stood behind their champion, Krzysztof Glowacki, a fighter molded by hardship, fueled by the roar of his people. Across from him stood the challenger, a calm and smiling Ukrainian, with gold in his past and destiny in his eyes. Oleksandr Usyk had never fought for a world title before, yet he looked like a man who'd already seen this moment in his dreams. As the bell echoed through the arena, two paths collided, one of grit, the other of brilliance. Glowacki moved forward behind his gloves, throwing heavy leather early, forcing Usyk to show his movement. The Ukrainian danced on his toes, jabbing with rhythm, circling like a shadow. Each punch from Glowacki drew screams from the crowd, but Usyk's sharp counters began to silence them, shot by shot. It was the kind of first round that hinted at everything to come: the chaos, the beauty, the contrast between a warrior's heart and an artist's skill. By the second and third rounds, the fight began to take shape. Glowacki was a storm, crashing forward with hooks and overhands, trying to trap the elusive southpaw. Usyk's jab never stopped flicking, constant, irritating, precise. Every time Glowacki stepped in, he met that piston of a left hand. Yet the Polish champion was undeterred. He was born for wars like this. He attacked the body, dug to the ribs, and absorbed counters without flinching. The fans roared louder with every exchange, sensing their man's urgency. But Usyk was adjusting, reading, calculating angles like a chess master. In one sequence, he pivoted left, landed 3 straight punches, and slipped away untouched. The crowd gasped. This wasn't just boxing. It was geometry in motion. By the end of round 3, Glowacki's face began to mark, and his breathing grew heavier. Usyk, in contrast, looked like he was just beginning to find his rhythm. The story was changing. As the rounds passed, Usyk's control deepened. The 4th and 5th saw a dazzling display of movement, quick pivots, sharp footwork, and combinations thrown with almost casual confidence. Glowacki tried to pull him into exchanges, but each time he stepped close, Usyk spun off the ropes and tagged him clean. The sound of leather on flesh echoed through the arena as Usyk's left hand began finding its home over and over. Still, Glowacki refused to yield. He swung back with everything he had, his punches looping wide, his energy fueled by the will of thousands chanting his name. The two men were fighting two different battles. Glowacki's was physical, all heart and pain. Usyk's was mental, a symphony of timing and control. The Polish champion's right eye began to swell, blood tracing a thin red line down his cheek, but his resolve didn't break. When he landed a clean hook to the body, the crowd erupted, believing momentum was turning. But Usyk answered instantly, a blinding combination that pushed Glowacki backward and reminded everyone that he was operating on another level entirely. By the middle rounds, Usyk's dominance became impossible to ignore. He wasn't just winning, he was dismantling with grace. Glowacki still came forward, his courage unmatched, but his punches grew slower, his defense less sure. Usyk now commanded the center of the ring, switching angles, peppering with jabs, landing 5-punch combinations that made the crowd fall silent between roars. Every miss from Glowacki cost him. Every mistake was punished. The commentators could only marvel at the Ukrainian's rhythm, calling it poetry under fire. Yet through all of it, Glowacki's bravery stood out. Even as the punishment mounted, he refused to stop throwing. The crowd began chanting his name not in expectation, but in respect. Round after round, the Polish champion proved that even when outclassed, a fighter's heart can still define the night. When the championship rounds arrived, the respect between the two men was carved into every punch. Glowacki's face was swollen, his breathing labored, but he kept pressing forward. Usyk, though comfortably ahead, refused to coast. He fought as if perfection itself were on the line. The 11th round saw him unleash some of his finest work, blistering jabs, dazzling footwork, and a left hand that repeatedly snapped Glowacki's head back. Yet the Polish warrior never broke. As the final round began, the crowd rose, sensing the end of a valiant battle. They cheered for their champion, and they applauded the artist standing before him. When the final bell rang, both men lowered their gloves, spent but proud. The judge's announcement confirmed what the world already knew. Oleksandr Usyk was the new WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world. But there were no losers that night. Glowacki had fought with courage beyond measure, and Usyk had announced his arrival as something special. In that arena, amidst the sweat, blood, and roaring fans, a new chapter in boxing history was written, the birth of a future legend.